Hey everyone, Cameroni here with another build guide update for day 3/4. I recorded one last night, but I was so sleep deprived and so messed up that I ended up rambling for 25 minutes and didn't post it because it was bad. It's bad. This one should be much better. To get us started, some upgrades that I've made since the last video. My mercenary kept dying in my endgame farm, so I beefed up his items. He's missing a ring right now. I'll fix that in a second. The biggest thing for the mercenary that I've added is Immortal Flesh. This gives him an insane amount of life regen, which pairs well with Shaper's Seed, which also gives an insane amount of life regen. You can also use items that have Abyss sockets and socket an Abyss Jewel in it before you put it on him, and he'll get the effects of this Abyss Jewel. So this one is giving Blind and Maim, which helps a lot. My mercenary is also level 84, got him in a tier 17 map. He doesn't have Vitality, which is sad, but he has Decoy Totem, which is arguably better. I don't know. We'll see. But everything else is good. The other thing to look out for on stats, he's missing a ring right now, so don't pay as much attention. But you want to overcap them on resistances by 15 or 30% if you can handle 30. That way, if they get cold exposure and elemental weakness, their resistances still stay at 75%. You should keep that in mind for yourself as well. Other upgrades. I finally got a 6-link. I bought this base. It was a 28% quality with 6 sockets, or 6 links. Bought it for 4 divines on the trade website, and then crafted it myself with some dense fossils. I can make a video on that if you want, but it cost me about 5 divines in total to get this, which is pretty good. I also dropped Inspiration, so I'm using 6 blue sockets instead, and I threw in critical strike support. Eventually I'll throw in Awakened increased AoE instead, but for now this works. Next upgrade, Runecraft of the Fortress. This thing is crazy overpowered. Highly recommend everyone should run this if you're running CI and Armour, or really everyone should just run this. I also got a cheap Watcher's Eye for 2.1 divines. Bought this from Tai, actually. It just gives me some more physical damage reduction and energy shield leech. I don't think I actually need the physical damage reduction, but I got it just in case. That was before I had better gear. Other things, I've got this cold cluster that I crafted myself. These are like 15 divines, and there's no, I'm not paying 15 divines for one of these. It's kind of a pain to craft yourself. There's a lot of alteration spamming. I got lucky on mine, and it only cost me like 2 or 3 divines to craft this. It can cost anywhere from a divine if you're lucky to 10 divines if you're not lucky, but definitely should not cost 15 divines to craft. One thing, quick side note, don't tell anyone I told you this. When you're searching for a cold jewel to craft, if you're going to craft one yourself, try to find one that's between item level 68 and 74. You don't want one that's 75 or higher. Well, you can craft one that's 75 or higher, but it's a lot easier to hit these mods if it's at least level 68 and at most level 74. Fun fact. Moving on. Also got my Eldritch Implicits fixed on my gear. I don't think this is ideal. The big ones you want is physical damage from hits taken as chaos damage on your chest. You can get some mana reservation on your helmet, so you don't need as many mana reservation nodes. I dropped this whole circle here because I didn't need it, so I'm just using this one here. Increased area of effect is nice. I just like Big Ice Novas. I'm sure there's better ones. And the other 2 most important ones are cold exposure on hit and chance to unnerve on hit. So these 2 plus Fizz taken as chaos. Those are the 3 big ones. The rest, you can do whatever you want. That's it for upgrades. Some changes that I made. A lot of this is dependent on the farm that you're doing. I'm farming Abyss in Corrupted 8 mod tier 16 maps, and Abyss gets really, really scary. So I am running temp chains on hit. This plus 30% chill effect means that rare and unique enemies have 48% less action speed. So when they're chasing me down, trying to steal my lunch money, I can actually run away. I dropped golems for now since I'm doing really rippy content. They don't stay alive for very long. And I dropped the Arcanist brand setup, so I'm using Frost Shield with Bone Chill, because Frost Shield automatically applies a chill effect Bone Chill makes you do more damage for any enemy that's chilled by your Frost Shield. Increased AoE and Frostbite, which is just nice because my Frostbite curse has a ginormous circle now, and it's even bigger if I've been killing enemies because of my medium Cholesterol Jewel. So it's a pretty nice setup for content that you're standing still in. I've also changed up my mana reservation and my auras a little bit. You don't have to follow my setup exactly. This is just what I'm running right now. I was running Herald of Ice when I didn't have enough damage, and I dropped Discipline for Herald of Ice. But you can do whatever you want, whatever auras you like best. Which brings me to the next section here. These are the uses of mana reservation in order of importance, at least ranked to me. Really, it's about finding a combo that you like and what you enjoy. So first on the list is Zealotry. This is your most important damage aura. It gives more spell damage. It gives crit chance. It gives consecrated ground. All good things. Determination. This is your most important defensive aura. My mercenary is running that, so I don't have to, which is nice. Clarity. You don't need this if you're using a lightning golem, and you can keep the lightning golem alive. You can also use inspiration with a couple of rings for less mana and get reduced mana on your tree, so you don't need to run clarity. It's up to you, but you need to make sure that you have enough mana regen. Next on the list is Tempest Shield. You can use this for shock immunity. Shocks are nasty, and then it also gives spell block. You can also take this charge mastery here for cannot be shocked while at maximum power charges for shock immunity if you don't want to run Tempest Shield, but then you also lose a lot of spell block. I'm also missing a lot of spell block currently because I don't have enough passive points. But I'm at 65%, which isn't bad. Next on the list, Herald of Ice. This gives you more damage and explosions. Really good for clear. And if your damage is meh, because I've been focusing more on defenses on this build rather than damage, Herald of Ice is a huge one to have. After that is Discipline. Once you have enough damage, and you don't need Herald of Ice anymore because Profane Bloom is carrying you and you can actually kill things without Herald of Ice, Discipline is the next best one, at least in my opinion. You can also use Flesh and Stone. You have a lot of increased AoE with this build, so the AoE on that is going to be massive. If you don't know how Flesh and Stone works, you always want to be in Stone stance, and anything that is in the AoE of Stone stance is going to do less damage to you. After that, Arctic Armor. You're already freeze immune, so you don't really need Arctic Armor for that. But if you do a lot of content where you stand still, like I am with Abyss, you can use that, plus Frost Shield, plus Flesh and Stone. And if you combine all of those, you'll almost never die. Especially if you have max spell block. That's my list for reservation efficiency in order of importance. Moving on, future upgrades to the build. Things that I am still going to do or working on is a Awakened Spell Echo. It's not worth it right now. It's far too expensive, and when you echo off of the Frostbolts, most of the benefits that you get from Awakened Spell Echo don't apply. But it is on my list of upgrades. Awaken increased AoE. I'll probably replace Critical Strike support with that. Calandra's Touch. Oh, if you're less obsessed with AoE, you want damage instead of AoE, you can use like Cold Penetration or Awakened added cold damage. I don't like those as much because then I have to fix my dexterity, but yeah, they are more damage. Or Intensify, that's another good one. It gives you AoE unless you're spamming your skill and holding still, and then it gives you more damage and less AoE. A lot of good options there for the last link. Calandra's Touch, I need that for +1 power charge ring. I have the power charge ring. I'm not using it yet. I just barely got this and crafted it, which is on my list of upgrades. Fun fact. This is a really expensive one. It's up to you whether you want to get this before you get a Mage Blood or before you get some of the other upgrades. Forbidden Flesh and Flame, I'll either get one for Liege of the Primordial for golems, or for Heart of Destruction for more AoE and then damage when I'm hitting unique enemies. And then Mage Blood. That's my future upgrade list. It's subject to change. We'll see. If you're struggling and you're still on a budget version of the build, I know this build can feel, well, most builds feel pretty bad on a budget, at least damage-wise or defense-wise. It's hard to get damage and defenses on a budget. So if you're struggling, here's some upgrades that you should look for in order of importance and their greatest impact. A good wand. Good wands are cheap this league. You don't need a crazy wand. Look for something that has +2 cold spell gems or cold skill gems. If you can get a +2 wand, that would be ideal, but those can be kind of expensive, so just a +1 is good. Look for high cast speed on it. Cast speed is a huge quality of life, and it makes your build feel much, much better. And then added cold damage. Those are the 3 big ones. Or you can use Toolborn. It's like 5C. It's a good unique. Gives a lot of damage. Doesn't give cast speed, but it is good until you can get the setup that I'm using. After that, you want enough resistances and attributes on your passive tree and other gear to be able to use a Curse on Hit Ring or Mark of Submission. I would recommend getting Mark of Submission with either Frostbite or Temp Chain socketed into it. If you don't want to die and you don't mind doing a little less damage, I would highly recommend the combo I'm using with Temp Chain's Curse on Hit, so that the mobs are really, really slow, and they attack really, really slow, and they cast really, really slow. And then you can just curse as needed with Frostbite, because like I said, you don't even really need to aim your Frostbite curse. This thing is massive. After you have your resistances and attributes fixed, and you have Curse on Hit, make sure that you have your 4th lab done for Profane Bloom. That'll carry you in pretty much every late game farm. And then get Armor/ES, gloves, boots, and helmet, and a chest. So that when you take this mastery over here, you get 100% increased armor and ES from your body armor. It just requires that these 3 pieces of gear have armor and ES. And then get a good chest piece that has high armor and energy shield. The rest of it doesn't matter so much. You want as much armor and energy shield as you can get on it. If you get resistances, cool. If you get attributes, that's nice. If you get fizz reduction, that's best. But the most important thing is that. And like I said, this is really, really, really easy to craft. Don't pay a ridiculous amount of money for one of these. After you get that sorted out, I should say, this is the best way to increase your defenses and your survivability more than anything else you can do, is getting these 3 with armor and ES. They don't even have to be good armor and ES. Like, my gloves are pretty garbage. I'm just using them for attributes and cold exposure and unnerve, and they have a little bit of resistance. Same with the boots. These don't really give me any defenses at all. My helmet, you'll want a decent helmet, but my helmet is pretty trash. I just spammed some essences for energy shield on it until I got good armor and energy shield and called it a day. This is the most important part for your defenses. After that, Replica Dragon's Fang, that's somewhere on this list. It doesn't necessarily have to be in this order. If this is cheap, I haven't looked at the prices. I paid 30C for it. This is a good upgrade to get if you don't need an amulet for other things like resistances and attributes and whatnot. Fitting this in can get a little difficult if the rest of your gear isn't very good. So, fit this in when you can. Other than that, you can use a +1 or +2 amulet until then, which a +2 amulet might even be better than this. And then cold exposure and unnerve on your gloves, these Eldritch Implicits, and then Fizz taking his chaos on the chest. Those are all of the upgrades in order of importance. That should get you farming tier 16 maps comfortably. Might be a bit slow since your damage won't be very good at that point. It'll be decent. It's not going to be bad by any means, but it will be a bit slow. And that is like a super budget version of the build. So the fact that it's able to do tier 16 farms at all is pretty good. It was a lot better before they nerfed me, but, you know, I guess that's the price we pay for being too cool. After that, then you can save up for the Relicash boots. This will let you use Relicash. It'll let you use Toolfall. It'll let you use Malachi's Loop and Graven Secret. And this combo of uniques is incredibly powerful. And then you can use Inner Conviction, and you're good to go from there. Oh, one other thing I should mention. You can use Vol Cold Snap. I used that for a long time early on a budget to get 3 Frenzy charges, which makes your build feel a lot better. And just take the charge mastery for 100% increased charge duration so that your frenzy charges last for 20 seconds. And you don't need to worry about regenerating them very often. That can help a lot on a budget, and Vol Cold Snap is like 1C. Yeah, that's what I would do. If you're struggling with the build, there's your upgrades in order of importance. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll catch you next time.